All right, I want to start this off by thanking all of you. I'd like to thank all of you for your support and for your encouragement, and that is all being taken very seriously by me. For all of the new patrons, I'm going to do a video tomorrow where I discuss power rankings. I may very well do daily power rankings on Patreon and then just every Saturday reveal it to the entire channel. I think that'd be fun. And then maybe it'll give everybody else an opportunity to see how I decide who moves where and why. Because it is a daily thing. Now, tonight's game, I watched Vancouver and Dallas live. It was fun. It was a decent first. I thought the shot clock favored Vancouver, but the play I thought favored Dallas. The second period was slow. It was slow. The third period, that's when the fun started. Bo Horvat had one hell of a frustrating night. Posts, missed plays, a couple of botches, and I watched him swear as he went to the bench on one occasion. The game ended because Dallas had more talent. The Radulov goal in overtime was a beauty. Sagan's goal was a beauty. It was one of those games that really could have gone either way, and the shot clock favors the Canucks. But Bishop stood on his head. And in terms of how everybody was playing, we really saw tonight that Vancouver is solid for the most part. But yeah, that top end talent isn't there. There were a few things that stuck out for me tonight. Berchi had a bad game. I think Berchi did admit it was a bad game. Vanek looked kind of slow out there. He had the one really good play in the second period, but outside of that, he looked pretty slow. Pouliot, oh wow. For me to yell during a game, for me to get mad and swear during a game at a player at something I see live, it happened tonight. It was Pouliot in his own zone deciding to blindly pass it across the ice, and there's a white jersey right in the middle there. And I'm like, holy crap, that was awful. And it led to a really good chance for Dallas, and I thought it was going to lead to a goal. So Pouliot played well for the most part. He was paired with Biega, which works. Del Zotto was paired with Goodbranson, which I really like that pairing a lot. I think that pairing works really well. And Hutton was with Tanev. And Hutton and Tanev are fine. Neither of them shoot. In the overtime, they had the Sedins out there with Hutton. And I said to Dean, who took me to the game, if you're watching, Dean, thank you. I had a good time. And I said to Dean, I said, they've got 3 guys on the ice and none of them shoot the puck. So this isn't a good idea. And there were some lines that I kind of scratched my head at. Magna was playing. And when you take Besser out of the lineup and you put Magna in, you're losing some offensive skill. Magna tries, and I don't like to bad talk Magna, or for instance last year when Chaput was in the lineup. But they really are just emergency call-ups. They really should never be regulars in the NHL. And I didn't see anything in Magna's game tonight to tell me otherwise. For Dallas, Jamel Smith looked great out there. Jamel Smith had a great game. He was on the power play. I noticed he was out there in overtime. He's got a lot of speed, a lot of heart, and a lot of feistiness in him too. I was also impressed with Janmark. Janmark's speed was very good. He's got good puck sense. Who else in Dallas impressed me? Klingberg impressed me. Mathot didn't. I thought Mathot looked flat out there, and he took a penalty out of laziness, which is fine because as he was getting the penalty, Klingberg also tripped somebody. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, they could have called a penalty in either of them there. I thought it was Klingberg getting the penalty because I saw him trip somebody. But I thought Dorsett had a half-decent game. He's not a scorer, though. That's the thing with Dorsett. And then the whole game basically was, it was decided by Bishop. Bishop decided he wasn't letting in a goal, and he didn't struggle with the puck in the first or the second. He struggled a bit. He bobbled it in the third. I thought there were a couple of times where maybe the Canucks could have scored and didn't, but really, Bishop looked solid, and then in overtime he wasn't giving anything up. He's a big goaltender. I mean, when he's standing in front of the net and the net is at his elbows, the top of the net is at his elbows, you're like, wow, he's a big dude. I mean, that's crazy. So I can understand why people would look at Bishop and net and go, the nets are too small. Yeah, they're a little too small, especially for an old-fashioned hockey fan or hockey player who's used to goalies who are 5'10" and under. Now you're looking at a guy who's 6'7" and the net's the same size. For Bishop, too, I noticed he goes down and watches the play a lot, so he'll be actually down on one knee and kind of turning with the play. And when he does that, basically if he puts his arms out, 80% of the net's already covered. So I can totally understand why people would watch that and say, that's not fair. But he's just bigger, and he's smart. Markstrom had a very good game. He wasn't happy at the end of it with the goal. I don't think he was happy with the other goal that Dallas scored, although when they did the replay, I knew it was a goal. No doubt in my mind, and then they showed it on the scoreboard, and I'm like, or on the giant board up there, whatever the hell. And I was like, yeah, it's a goal. So then when the referee's like, we have a good goal, I'm like, yeah, I know it's a good goal. Call it. The refereeing was fine. I didn't see any calls they missed. There was a play where Virtanen went down and the crowd in that area went nuts. On the replay, though, when you looked at it, you could see that, yeah, Virtanen took a little bit of an elbow, but he kind of leaned into it. So I'm fine with it not being a call. I thought it was a high stick the way Virtanen went down. Virtanen was with the Sedins, which there's two arguments here. Either A, the Sedins at this point, with their mobility not being what it was, hold him back. Or B, being the senior members of the team, they're able to teach him how to be a Canuck. So you have those two schools of thought there. So, without having seen what else was going on tonight, that was my impression watching the Canucks-Dallas game. It was a fun game. It was a game that, like I said, the second was kind of slow. I know I was yawning. The guy to my left was yawning. There were other people around me that were yawning. But the rest of the game was pretty fun. And I really wish Canucks fans wouldn't do the wave. Every time I see the wave, I kind of go, oh, no. It's so lame. And especially when you've got empty seats. And there's always empty seats in Vancouver now. So the wave will kind of peter out in that one spot. You see like 3 people. And then it picks up again in the corners. Because the corners always have people in them because the seats are cheaper. And yeah. So it was a fun experience. I can't really review all the other games in this video because I didn't watch them, so I'm just going to go over the scores and talk about it in a different video. But I was there. If you were watching the game, I was behind the Canucks bench, straight up 19 rows. Yvonne found me in the game. She showed me a picture she took of me in the game. You can see that I was wearing red because my section I was the only one wearing red. I was holding my phone charger a lot in my phone because the jacket I was wearing kept falling through. And I've got a good phone, and I really like my phone charger, so I don't want to lose them. So I was holding on to them, and I was like, oh, they scored. But I know if I stand up, the seat's going to jump up. My jacket's going to fall through. So I had to hold up the charger. Pump my fist with the charger in my hand. It looked really lame. But I'm not putting the charger down on the floor. So anyways, it was a fun game. It was a good game. And someday I hope I get to see the Canucks win a game. I've now seen 6 Canucks games live in my lifetime. They've never won a game. They have a record of 0-4-2. And the 2 overtime losses are both this year. So think about it. Anytime the Canucks have lost a game in overtime or a shootout this year, I've been there to watch it. So, but at least they lost to Dallas and Ottawa, which are 2 of my other favorite teams. Numbers 3 and 4 for those of you paying attention at home. But I did wear Canucks gear. I did cheer for the Canucks. There were witnesses around me that know I was cheering for the Canucks. And yeah, thank you, Dean. And to other people who are taking my picture during the game, I noticed. And if you're subscribers or you know who I am, you can come over and say hi. It's not a big deal. It's kind of weird when you turn your head and you go, I'm pretty sure that guy's taking a picture of me. Huh. Okay. And then you're on SkyTrain after the game and you catch people looking at you and it's like, pretty sure they're talking about me. It's really strange because, you know, a few months ago, I always had people walking up to me and saying, "How are you, the hockey guy? Oh, cool, I watch your videos." You know, handshake, maybe ask for a selfie, that kind of thing. I have no problem with that. So people who see me in public, that's totally cool. I have no problem with any of that. You know, if I'm out at a hockey game, I'm well aware that people are going to talk to me and recognize me. I don't have a problem with that. Seeing Brody at the Canucks store was fun. They have Utica Comets game-worn jerseys at the Canucks store for $200. Absolutely need one. I don't even care who's on the back of it. I know I'm going to swim in them because they're size 56, but they've got the fight straps. They're CCM. They're from last year. It's a beautiful combination. They're thick. They're beautiful jerseys, and they're Utica. So I have to have it. So I didn't buy it tonight, but I'm going to figure it out over the next couple of weeks and make it happen. And I need to get a Fanatics from the Canucks game store so that I can compare Reebok, CCM, I have a Pro Player up here somewhere, Coho, all of the brands that have made jerseys. And we can discuss who's made them well, who's gone off the rails. The fabric on these ones, for instance, really goes off the rails, and I can discuss that in that video at that time. But that's for another time. Thanks for watching. If you were at the game, you saw a good game. If you watched it on TV, I don't know if it translated that it was a good game in the third and overtime or not. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you're a Stars fan, you got the result you wanted. And the Sagan, Radulov, Ben line is good. I kind of wish they'd find a way to not have their three big guns all in the same line. But as long as they're winning and they're 7-5 now, I guess it's all well and good. And it was nice to see Dallas's defense play relatively well, although Alexiak's penalty was lazy, and that, you know, again, as a Stars fan, I watched that and I was like, oh yeah, that's not a good penalty. There were some penalties out there tonight that took place because players weren't able to keep up with the play, and I was actually kind of surprised that the penalty Vanek took at the end of the second period didn't end up being a penalty shot, because it was a breakaway, and from my angle I couldn't tell whether or not the Dallas player in question actually got a shot off. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.